This is a special installment of Advanced TV Herstory, a podcast that focuses on women in and of TV. We're bringing you another seasonal show complete with unscripted live viewing. And so, thank you for tuning in. Our listener base keeps getting larger and larger, and our images of women in TV span that wide range of profession, interest, and talent that, by its very nature, TV attracts. While past installments have examined single events or episodes, Herstory is indeed powerful, and we are about to view Super Bowl halftime shows that featured women performers, because after all, it's otherwise just an entire afternoon of testosterone. Listeners who also hail from a state where the NFL team has lost in all 4 Super Bowl attempts can appreciate the halftime show as the Switzerland moment of a late winter's evening. Here's how the Super Bowl event goes in my house. No, I really haven't been following the game. I've been talking with the other women who are in this house awaiting halftime so that the next course of carbs and calories can be served. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, let's watch that one more time. Ooh, that ball. That was caught right before the player's foot. No, wait. Was it in? Is he out? It's going to take another 3 or 4 minutes to really get a good look at this important piece of American history. Tell me when it's halftime. That, ladies and gentlemen, was sarcasm. And this installment features the color commentary of M. Susan Nolene, who can hurl sarcasm with the best of them. She'll join me in a splendid look at halftime's past and the women featured therein. Due to time constraints and the evolution of the halftime show, we are only going to view 6 halftime shows that are available on YouTube. Also, again in part due to time constraints, we are omitting performances by major artists like Tina Turner, Mary J. Blige, Brittany Spears, and Carol Channing, because they either performed as a medley of talent, or in the case of Ms. Channing, the video just wasn't available. So listeners, if you've got an old Super 8 film of the halftime shows from 1970 or 1972, think of yourself as owning the original Zapruder film. Wouldn't it be simply fascinating to see Carol Channing, 5'9" tall, stage and screen legend, join up with the Southern University Marching Band, or in 1972, when she was joined by the U.S. Marine Corps drill team for some old-fashioned American entertainment? If you produce a podcast about this stuff, then yes, it would be fascinating. Please send me your Zapruder film. Let's talk. Alas, Susan and I will start in 1982 with the Up With People performance. 2 shows in the 90s featured women in sort of lead roles. 1992 was that infamous salute to the Winter Olympics. Dorothy Hamill and Brian Boitano skated, and toward the end, Gloria Estefan sang, or should I say synced. And we'll talk about more of that whole lip-syncing thing later. The format became more focused on a single act in 1996 with Diana Ross. Then we'll view the 2003 halftime stage that featured Shania Twain and No Doubt, led by Gwen Stefani. And if that's not an odd enough pairing, Sting also had a piece of that show. Finally, the shows of the 2010s that featured women that we'll view, Madonna's in 2012 and Beyonce and Destiny's Child in 2013. So with that, I'd like to welcome Susan, an English teacher by day and highly trained observer of all things pop culture 24/7. And she's got tremendous energy, which makes me think that perhaps her next career may just be with Up With People.
Thanks, Cynthia. First of all, let me say that I'm a nearly loyal listener of your podcast. Your grammar and research methods are solid. So on behalf of all the English teachers everywhere, thank you for setting a good example. When you first asked me to do this live viewing, I was intrigued. Super Bowl halftime shows for me are really the only point to the whole afternoon. So it was very exciting and really fascinating to check out these Super Bowl's halftime shows that you picked for us.
All right, well, let's get going. If you can just cue up the play button there. We are going to go back to 1982, which for many of us was a year where we were all much slimmer. And the hair was decidedly better, the shoulder pads bigger. Again, these are all available on YouTube. So we have just been, wow. Okay, so this is Phyllis George. So tell us a little bit about Phyllis George, or your memory of Phyllis George.
Well, she was Miss America, and she was really actually pretty beautiful. If you look at that, I mean, she's pretty...
Yeah, well preserved given that let's see, she was born in 1949, and she was Miss Texas in 1970, Miss America in 1971.
Well, she did a great job of opening this show. It's really exciting. I think that this halftime show, for me, when you're comparing all of them, if you look at it like, do I want to be in one or do I want to watch one? This is one I would say I would want to be in one. The energy of the young people, what is it called? Up with People?
Up with People, yeah.
The young people all dancing to these 60s and 70s songs was just a riot. There
is a lot of energy there, Susan. It's important that we all know what Up With People is and what they're up to today, because it's an organization that still exists and that it didn't just kind of run the gamut when the Reagan administration ended. There's a lot of high energy, fresh-faced dancing and singing going on, and it is multicultural. It is a worldwide organization. There are 450 dancers that ultimately are on the field at some point.
Yeah, I would say that it's pretty interesting to watch the way this is all choreographed, because it's clear that they're young people. The costuming is just so different than what you would see today, because where now you see way more skin, these are like people in khaki pants and khaki pants and short dresses, but very clothed compared to nowadays.
Right.
And really street clothes that they're dancing in. And I think that's pretty fascinating, just different. And I love the way that they come in and it's sort of color coordinated. Each corner is a little different, and one's denim, one's khaki, one's purple. I mean, it's pretty, I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
Oh, well, and then we flash to the band. So it's a band they look kind of like Osmonds, actually, but the Osmonds, I don't think, had quite that much instrumental talent. So it's like 3 or 4 guitar guys wearing different colored button-up shirts, and then they all had vests, a little bit of fringe on the vests, and then they got to wear jeans. And literally that is where the music is coming from. And now we have the dancers spinning around in circles, crazy circles, like not quite sure what this is supposed to look like from the bleachers, but they are now shifting gears and they are doing Beach Boys style surfer music. They're carrying surfboards. Some of them are wearing Hawaiian shirts. These are dancers who just have this perpetual grin on their face. This is it's considered a salute to the 1960s and Motown, which I guess for 1982 was kind of about right. It was a little bit of a retro of that, although really the 60s had only ended 10 years prior.
If you remember, though, during that time period of the 80s, there was a lot of retro. And it did go back to the 60s, because I remember going to soccer games and seeing, the Beach Boys. Mm-hmm. And so it is sort of, I remember that. It's just a very simple show when you really look at this. Far as
very low tech,
very low tech. That's what I think I mean by it'd be more fun to be in it, because I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe it was okay to watch, but compared to nowadays, it's just so different. It's more marching band and dancing.
It very much has the choreography of a marching band, and we will see a few more marching bands before this particular episode is out. This Up With People show it had actually followed the 1981 Mardi Gras theme, which was only the Southern University Marching Band, and then also with this one lady, and I can only get a picture. Her name was Helen O'Connell, and I think maybe she was like a TV news lady or something. Do you remember?
I don't remember that.
Oh. This is really probably one of the most sophisticated, people-oriented ones, and again, 1982, I really think that Up With People it has a Reagan feel. It has a huge American pride feel. But Up With People did also perform in 1976. Carol Channing was a huge early star of the Super Bowl halftime shows. She did 1970 and 1972, along with just marching bands. We will start to see a transition.
That's very interesting.
Yes. Although in 1984, the Salute to Superstars of the Silver Screen was again introduced by Phyllis George. So she had a thing going. Now, let's just talk a little bit about Phyllis George.
Okay, well, she was quite a figure. I do remember when I was young, I remember her all over. In fact, when you mentioned her name, I connected her right away with the Chicken by George. And I do remember seeing her face in a lot of sporting events. I feel like she
was a sportscaster. Yes.
And really probably one of the first women sportscasters. There aren't that many. Let's see, she became a sportscaster in 1974, and then she joined the cast of the NFL Today, co-hosting live pregame shows before the National Football League games. She was one of the first females to have a nationally prominent role.
And so actually then in 1985, she ended up getting a 3-year contract to go on the CBS Today, What's the CBS morning show called? Is it CBS Morning?
Is it
Today?
No, Good Morning America.
No, that's ABC.
Today is NBC.
Is NBC.
What is it?
The morning show.
Yes,
I don't know.
let's just call it that.
Yeah, we'll call it the morning show. Yes. She also guest starred on The Muppet Show in 1979. So Phyllis George is still alive. She has pretty much kind of fallen off of the TV landscape, but she's still around. She was also First Lady of Kentucky from 1979 to 1983 when she was married to a man with the very memorable name of John Brown. All right, so now we have shifted to some solo performances from the Up With People, which it probably fulfilled the Glee spectrum of the day.
It is. That's exactly what it is. It is the Glee spectrum, and this moment where they're singing these sort of folk songs, that was part of the '60s that. At least we sang it in elementary school, like with the guitar player, and we'd practice.
The songs that you learn in order to be a good American.
Right, so...
Okay, this is a very long show.
Yeah.
And it's really only about 13 minutes long. Toward the end, we get every single dancers out on the field. They are singing The Age of Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In, The Fifth Dimension, Marilyn McCoo. They're like piled on top of each other.
Like amoebas. They're just flailing.
And then in just a few minutes, Susan, they are going to pull out these incredible ribbon things.
There it is. Making the sun.
What is there, like 100 of them?
Yes.
I mean, it's coming from every corner. And so it takes me back to like doing the parachute in gym. Remember when everybody had to grab onto the parachute and flail it up and everything? Well, this is
it.
Serious ribbon dancing.
Strips of large ribbon, about 3 feet wide, and then they all stream to the center. So you get this beautiful sun.
Yes.
It is pretty.
It's a spectacle, and then it looks like we got maybe some fireworks.
And this part is my favorite, the Carlton dance.
What's the Carlton dance?
You know, from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
No.
You don't know Carlton? He's the brother, and that's how he dances.
Oh, okay.
And look at them all doing it. That's what's amazing to me. Look at them. That is a calorie burner right there.
And there's, wow. Well, this is...
Look at that. That is like large body movement. There's a khaki outfit.
There's khaki on khaki at that.
Yes, I just think that's amazing. Look at them go.
It's probably the last time that there was a Super Bowl halftime show where the women got to wear cardigans.
That's not a bad thing, right? That's not the khakis and the cardigans for your costume. That's a work day.
That's
not.
There's no risk of wardrobe malfunction.
Absolutely not. You pop a button, it's not going to matter.
Okay. We are going to move on to the Salute to the Winter Olympics, which was just a... Oh, my goodness.
Another one.
That's another one, I tell you.
Oh, that was really something for me personally, because this one, I was living in Rhode Island at the time, and I was very excited about it.
Yes.
The Super Bowl was in Minnesota, was very exciting, but I just now am remembering, wow.
Okay, so here we are at the Hubert Humphrey Metrodome in Minnesota, and it's the Salute to the Winter Olympics.
It just makes you proud to... Oh, it's with Dorothy Hamill and Brian Boitano.
Yes, and Dorothy Hamill is wearing her traditional Hamill haircut and in a salute to Diane Keaton, a white turtleneck.
Oh my gosh, it just screams Minnesota right now. It's just making me look at the snowflakes, traditional snowflakes everywhere, because we've got nothing else going on in Minnesota, right?
It was really... Oh. They did everything they could to put lipstick on a pig for this one. I mean, and it was cold, if I recall, that weekend. So Dorothy and Brian welcomed everybody to the halftime show, and she's wearing a white turtleneck and a parka, and he's wearing a very in early 90s sweater. It wasn't quite a Cosby sweater. Now, so we get into these dancers, which is really just kind of the fascinating thing, and the lead dancers, I swear, look like a bride and groom.
Right. Yes, it's like winter wedding. Is what it looks like to me.
And then we have all of these dancers that kind of look like a glorified high school dance line. I mean, in terms of their costumes.
Right, and they actually look like skaters, I think. Like, they look like they are on, like, ice skaters in that sort of a dress, that skating dress.
Yeah.
Skater dress.
Or maybe more like a Rockette. They could have been the Rockette. They're on the football field. They're doing circles. Oh, here come the banners.
Right, and it's quite a show. I mean, it is great from the aerial view. I mean, it really is. You can see... It uses the whole space, and they're dancing, and the snowflakes are extending, and the ribbons, they've got more banner.
Yep. There's a lot of white. There's a lot of celebration of the winter that we dragged everybody to a very northern environment. And now we have the dancers, some of them wearing pink. But why do you suppose that the African-American dancer is wearing white, yet he's the only one wearing white with the pink costumes? Would that have been a skin thing?
Or could it have been I don't know, an accident? Maybe somebody was ill and then the guy stood in and he had the wrong, but it didn't matter. I don't know. It was good. It was good. They're, it's good.
Or maybe he just said, I'm not going to wear pink.
Well, right. This was 1992.
It was,
Yeah. Is that a symphony?
Well,
I mean, I hear it.
It's at least, I saw a French horn or something.
Right, and I saw a violin. I mean, this is pretty, that's a lot going on.
Well, it's Minnesota, we might as well bring out our best. And there, I thought I saw, so we continue to probably have about 150 dancers on the football field, and it just has a bit of a Busby Berkeley feel, and now these dancer women with ribbons, so the little singular style ribbon, they have Statue of Liberty crowns on.
And this is the Russian babushka. Is that what that thing is up on your head?
No, it's kind of like the Russian Omar Sharif hat from Dr. Zhivago. And it's beautiful. They're white things, and then they have these gymnasts sort of flipping around and doing various acrobatics.
Did you notice?
Do we have...
The snowman came in.
The snowman got hauled in. So kind of that sad inflatable snowman that you see in your neighbor's front yard, and then some more. So it is kind of fascinating, just this whole snowman and snowflake theme. And you had some thoughts about this?
Well, I'm kind of laughing because the music is some leftover holiday music. Winter Wonderland and Let It Snow, Let It Snow. I mean, if you're from Minnesota, you're kind of tired of all of that already. So that's just kind of funny to see them celebrating. I mean, it is winter. Aren't there other songs too?
And so the color assignments of sort of the silvery and the blue. Oh my goodness. What are those pants again? Are those
MC Hammer pants?
MC Hammer pants, yes.
Hammer time.
Newsboy caps. So we've pretty much pulled out all the stops and the large inflated, what do you think they are, about 20 foot tall?
Yes.
Oh, no.
There are people in
There's
them.
people in
so
them.
It's like those big sumo wrestlers now. They do those big, inflatable sumo wrestlers. It's like that.
Or the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
It is that. Now the Olympics start. The tribute to the, what was it,
92 Winter Olympics.
And this is actually, I think, pretty cool and must have been fun to be a participant in the audience, to get to raise your paper up and do that.
So it was back, it described what that
Okay,
is.
so we have the top row, the very top row of the dome. It says USA in white letters with blue in the background. And then the second row had the Olympic circles, and that's really pretty cool.
And so people had if you had a color of the Olympic circle if you were sitting in there. Otherwise, if you didn't have a circle, you were a white card. I think that must be an incredible skill set to have, which probably is no longer marketable, to be able to say, okay, we have to figure out how many blues and greens and red cards we need and what seats they sit in, and then how many white ones.
Right.
That just isn't done anymore.
No.
Okay.
Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, so on the enormous snowflakes in the center of the stage, there are two very big ones, and now we have Brian Boitano and Dorothy Hamill skating.
Yeah.
That's something.
And Dorothy Hamill, if I recall, her big skating moment was 1976.
I think it
So
was.
that sounds about right. And we have fireworks in a can and rollerbladers.
Rollerbladers, but not to be outdone by look at this, the hockey team. The 1980, 1980 hockey team and they were running down. Look at them running. I don't know that they've been running since that game.
They can't. Some of them are not around to run anymore.
Right? Yeah.
We have the dancers. We have the rollerbladers. We had the hockey players. We have dancers.
Up there? Is that ski poles?
Those look like hockey sticks.
Oh, do they? I thought they use nowadays in.
Okay, now I originally thought this was the Statue of Liberty.
It does. Is it Father Winter?
Old Man Winter. It might just as well be Father Winter. Dirty Grandpa Winter.
Well, kind of.
But it's this big winter thing. So here's Gloria Estefan.
Here she is, because that's a combo that you put together often, as we said. Minnesota Winter and Gloria Estefan.
She is lip syncing. Go ahead. You can.
Well, she's wearing a black. I don't know what you call it. Looks
like a skater's dress.
It does look like a skater's. Really short and floofy with feathers on the bottom and lots of sparkle and like almost jewels on the top.
And then pearls.
Pearls, because it just outside of the 80s.
Barbara Bush would be proud. Yes.
No, actually, she looks beautiful. And she is singing it out. What was that song? Live for Loving You. Yep. And it's actually really good.
Yep. And she's only 34 then. And I mean, she was kind of at the height of her career. But then, do you remember when she had a car accident?
Yes, and it was devastating. And it really changed everything for her. But she is just really good here.
So who knows? If Gloria Estefan hadn't gotten into this car accident, who knows?
She might have been at another Super Bowl.
Yeah, but otherwise, now it is interesting to note, again, we pull a lot of this material from online sources. As it turns out, Fox Network was just on its upswing, and they were doing an awful lot of sitcoms, and they were popular, as you just talked about. Fresh Prince was that
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fox?
That might have been on NBC, but
okay. Anyway, so Fox actually aired a live episode of Living Color during the Super Bowl halftime show. It caused all sorts of mayhem of people switching away, and so this actually was the Fox attempt to take away viewers. Prompted the halftime people to begin thinking about even bigger productions than ribbon dancers and marching bands and people skating on little sections of snowflakes.
Wow, I did not know that, but now there is, because there's distinctly a huge production to because this is very nice, but this is not as big as the next ones to follow.
And do you know who did 1983?
I do not know who is that. Please don't say Michael Jackson. Wow.
Yes.
I believe I tuned in for that.
Yeah, he covered some of the big ones.
He did. It looks like he sang Jam, Billie Jean, Black or White, We Are the World. That was with the children's choir. That was really something.
So then we get to 1996, which featured really a woman who needed no introduction, but she gets a 1 minute long Diana Ross Through the Ages PowerPoint. Here is Diana Ross at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. And she never does anything half-assed.
No, this is actually phenomenal. And as I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, Diana Ross, you are amazing. She was 51 years old.
She was 51, yeah.
She looks absolutely fantastic, of course. Well, she always does.
Yeah. So, a few thoughts on this. We do have now very professional dancers.
No children. And MC Hammer pants here.
No. And everything is well orchestrated. It is on a huge freestanding stage in the middle of the football field. This is one, though, where we will count how many costume changes she has. We're a long way from Gloria Estefan wearing the little skater's dress for the one time. This is Diana Ross being the spectacle. Mm-hmm.
One thing I kind of liked about this one is the way the other shows had been more of like a song after a song after a song, and this is a medley, so it's like you're getting the best part of a bunch of songs, and it seems like it moves faster, and it seems like it might be more of a crowd pleaser,
By then, her career was already in its 30th year. So she is a seasoned veteran of stage appearances and dancing and everything. She was pretty much at the top of her game, maybe just a little bit beyond it, but a very safe star to have.
And really a crowd pleaser because she's so intergenerational. I know that, like, if you're just looking at me, I know my mom, like, she was a big name in my mom's youth. And then there's a little revival with Diana Ross doing stuff with Michael Jackson in the 80s. Mm-hmm. All her songs kind of came back. And she was remaking some other songs in the 80s. And she was just really a crowd pleaser.
We will continue to document. She's going off stage for a costume change. So it's pretty amazing that this 12.5 minute long halftime show is going to have a couple costume changes, because you think, how on earth can she possibly have time? Well, she's accomplished. So we're starting to have thousands of people pouring onto the field, including young women who are kind of laying on their stomachs with their
children dancers. I mean, or like maybe teenage dancers.
Something. And now it's kind of a heart-shaped thing. And balloons just got released, which now wouldn't happen today.
No, but that does look really neat. That's a great element of, just like as it's coming up, 3D effect coming up at you.
Yes, but balloon clusters
No,
the latex kills birds and things like that.
Totally
so,
unsafe.
So we have, that would never fly.
Not happening. No pun intended. Not anymore.
We're looking at the balloons. I think the balloons are a diversion so that she can go change.
I believe
from her cute red dress,
right.
This little red cocktail dress, to what now becomes orange, and it's how many ways can you not only refashion her, but then represent her.
Right.
So she comes out of, these guys are spinning around looking very Broadway sort of male dancer-y.
Ooh. They're very smooth, and they are. Here she comes. Is this it? Oh,
we missed it.
We missed it.
Now we're doing the blimp shot.
Yes. Well, that's how they got her on and off then. So the TV audience would never see anything, and the other crowd was too far away.
Yeah.
So really, this is ideal. but they're changing their set a little bit.
But we don't really see her up close. Oh, now we have some fireworks. Yes.
This has got to be it.
Okay, so this is what would you call that gown thing?
Oh, like I don't know what to call
Taffeta?
it.
Is that
taffeta? That is taffeta, and it's just a big, heavy, full dress with a tight bodice and then a just enormous hoop skirt type thing going on. And is it orange and purple?
It looks
really
like it's
bright.
an orange and like a magenta maybe.
Yes,
and she's got really big hair. Not super long hair, but it is full flowing. Oh, she's going to do reach out and touch somebody. This is in Arizona. So, I don't know, it strikes me that it's dry in Arizona, but she had really good hair.
She always has good hair. Look at her. She's just so beautiful.
Have you listened to my Diana Ross Central Park podcast?
I know, but I think that will be my thing I do this afternoon.
So, reach out and touch somebody's hand. So now they bring like kids. Now, these don't look like kids who are wealthy enough to be at the Super Bowl.
Maybe. Or just a big cross section. It's like, and then maybe there were some bands, like high school bands with the flags. I mean, that could have been like participation.
Yeah. Anyway, so these are kids who are holding each other's hands and they're swinging and they're swaying. And she's just being a mom.
She is.
Now here come
choir robes.
Golden
choir robes.
And they are going to back her up to singing Ain't No Mountain High Enough, which is kind of her theme song. And these are, again, no wardrobe malfunction with the choir robes.
No, very heavily, dressed. And now she's putting on, I think, isn't this one? Oh, she's just covering up big, fancy one.
But it's more of a gold lame. But she is singing while she is putting this thing on.
She hasn't stopped singing. Have you noticed that? Her voice has been throughout the whole thing. So she has been doing other things like getting dressed in real clothes. This was just a cape kind of thing.
Yeah, this is capey. Yeah.
But, I mean, that's something.
Oh.
They're moving around in those heels. That's a talent right there. Look at her. Look at this. Is beautiful. What is this turning into? X's? Was this the 30th? Is this Super Bowl 30?
Yes, it's probably Super Bowl 30. The choir robes are marching sort of in a formation up so that they are also populating the stage with her. She is just soaking it up in the way that only Diana Ross can do.
She just clearly at home on the stage in the lights.
Yep.
With everything going on. Oh, look at that, fireworks.
Yep. You think to yourself, okay, we still have 3.5 minutes to go. What more could Diana Ross do? What are the rest of the songs? And we'll give you a little teaser. She does I Will Survive, which I thought was kind of an ironic thing because, okay, I Will Survive was done by Gloria Gaynor, and it was a big disco hit from we'll call it the mid-'80s. It also is a bit of a theme song for the gay movement, okay?
Right.
So when you think of just how much testosterone flows through the NFL, for them to and now she's hoisted up on this pedestal thing on top of the stage. It's
center
phenomenal.
Of the act, right?
Yes. And she's already kind of, they are using hydraulics to get her as high as possible. Anyway, it's just a little bit of and then her cape actually, there's a gold lame sort of cover around the stage hoist. So she's probably, 25 feet up off the stage?
She looks like a big tower of gold. She's the top of the crown. Oh, look at, they're all straightening her dress or her little,
yeah,
there it goes. She will survive.
So the gold cape had kind of covered up a purple jumpsuit thing, and now she's going to kind of put another capey thing on. If you were to ever watch the 1983 Central Park show, you'd see that this is kind of her go-to. But it is strapless, and for 51,
and you know what? She looks amazing.
Off.
And now I'm seeing that this was the bottom of the other dress. I get it now. This is all layers. This is smart.
There's just no turtleneck.
No turtleneck.
There is no way that she can have a wardrobe malfunction, and she would be, if Justin Timberlake ever tried to touch her.
Oh, it would not happen. Can you imagine? She is too classy for that, is she not? None of those
She'd
shenanigans.
say, honey.
Yeah, she'd be like, never.
So she is having some hair issues, though. There's a lot of wind going on.
We know why the wind is coming, but the audience does not know why the wind is coming.
The audience is still clueless, other than the fact that they're starting to hear something coming from. This is so exciting.
I know.
I
it
feel
really
like we're
is.
teasing this.
I know. Well, it was amazing.
And so now we have her getting off of the stage. All of the gowned singers are off to the side, and her men dancers are dancing with her, and here comes a helicopter.
The helicopter. I mean, can you imagine? People were like, what? They could not have expected that. Nobody would expect this. What a great secret this must have been to keep this.
It's the notion that she is a big enough star, and evidently not too many helicopters had landed in the middle of stadia before. Stadia?
I think that could be.
Okay, the plural of stadiums.
Yes, you need Mr. Johnson, the Latin teacher. Help you with that
anyway, so it is now going to land literally on the stage, which means it also has to have the structure of a helipad.
Which it does now when you see that. It did.
Yeah,
I mean, that was probably the base.
Yeah, and with all the hydraulics and everything. Right. And so in her high heels, incredible
still
heels.
Singing.
Yep, still singing. She has the microphone in her hand. Oh, now she does not have the microphone in her hand. She's grabbing onto two straps and trying to get her hair out of the way. Oh, they're like literally like S&M straps.
I know, they are. Very interesting. Why is that?
Oh, that's so that she can keep her hands up.
Oh, but where's her singing? Because I thought I heard her singing before.
Oh, well, that might have been recorded then. Or the choir.
Look at her go. That's really dangerous, it seems like. Doesn't it? She's hanging.
Yeah. Michael Jackson probably coordinated it on the backside or something. That's Diana Ross.
Super Bowl 30.
Yes, 1996. And she kind of said, you could think to yourself, could there be any other way?
No, she would have to leave that way.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Really.
She's something.
She kind of set that standard. Maybe, I don't know, maybe everyone was like, we're never going to do another helicopter. Been there, done that.
Once it's done, how could you do it again? I mean, they would go, just like Diana Ross. I mean, you would lose it. Maybe in like 10 years they could do it.
Well, yeah, or if Michael Jackson were still around, he could come in on a drone.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be hopeful that this year we see some of that. Maybe that's gonna be part of it. The drones drop stuff, and because that could happen.
Well, I'm not gonna watch.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Ready? Okay.
We're gonna fast forward to 2003 with this very interesting pairing of Shania Twain, No Doubt, starring Gwen Stefani, and Sting. Who put that card together?
Well, when you're coming from something like Diana Ross, who, like we said, was sort of multi-generational. Mm-hmm. They are too, but you don't have anybody that really, there aren't that many stars anymore that can pull that. And so now you do have some different, you've got the country, you've got the rock, and then who doesn't like Sting, right? He's sort of...
Well, yeah, but I mean, so this sort of has more the feeling of arena rock.
Yes.
Where they just basically kind of say, okay, this is, if we were to do an entire show in a stadium for 3 hours, here's how it would go. And Shania Twain was she at the top of her game?
I think so. This song was anyway.
She was 37, so she ended up performing.
Man, I Feel Like a Woman. And that's pretty, that was her popular.
And Up?
And Up.
What's Up?
I knew it when I heard it the first time, but this one is the one that everybody knows.
And she's from Canada, which is that's a point in her favor. She's wearing kind of a slutty goth look, wouldn't you say?
I totally think that's what it is. She was always one that could kind of cross that country, but I'm going to look like a rocker kind of gal. And
rhinestones on the bra.
Right,
Serious.
well, all over the skirt, what skirt there is. And then she's sporting those boots, the thigh boots, which, there's something about her that's exuding a lot of sex appeal.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. You don't think it's the bump it in her hair?
I always wanted one of those. And it's not too late.
I think Sarah Palin has retired hers, so now you can kind of take another stab at it.
I might have to bring that back.
The thigh boots just seem a little S&M-y to me.
Well, they are, but yes, they are. And maybe because I could never rock it, that's why they're sort of intriguing.
Yeah, but, and this, I don't know, I think that the whole leather jacket thing, which looks like a bathrobe that doesn't close.
It looks like a Batman. It looks like a Batgirl.
Yeah.
But,
Right, yeah, she could have given Julie Newmar a run for her money back in the day.
I think so.
If you look at her face, I maintain that Shania Twain could... Celia Ward should play Shania Twain in the Shania Twain show.
She could. Shania Twain show.
So the crowd itself is basically just a whole bunch of people who are pre-authorized to be on the grounds, and they're jumping up and down, and they're thrilled.
Right.
So more fan access than ever before.
And, that does speak to less show to have to produce.
Yes.
I mean, really, this is a show, but you don't, the whole field is, and then, there's a screen on the field.
Yes.
So that's sort of
So it's like the stage is its own Jumbotron or something.
Right.
And there are no male dancers. There's no other dancers.
There's a band.
It's for musicians. Interestingly, I pulled a VH1.com article that was written from Christopher Rosa, who really kind of goes in depth a little bit about the history of the Super Bowl halftime show and who has lip synced and who hasn't. I think we would put our bottom dollar on Diana Ross having done her whole show in the reel. Mm-hmm. Christopher Rosa of VH1 maintained that Shania Twain lip synced this, even though she really has the pipes and the experience doing shows. She could have done it live, but she just chose not to for all sorts of reasons. Not the least of which is every stadium has different audio and sound capability, and these are now becoming gajillion-dollar presentations and productions.
And if you're jumping around, I think that some stars have a hard time keeping their breath. I mean, they just can't do it. Mm-hmm. And
so now she's going up on a little elevated boom or a kind of like a construction crane thing
with a little circle at the end. Yeah, that's like a fire. It's like a firefighter.
Yeah,
let's just get you up.
And so now she's able to get much closer to the upper level audience. Wardrobe malfunction, I would say. Nobody was touching her and everything. She was buttoned in pretty tightly.
Buttoned in. Yeah, really, very sexy, but buttoned in.
Yeah. And now we move on to Gwen Stefani,
who is wow.
And she was 33 at the time, so she's really only 4 years younger, but she looks like she's about 19 here.
She really does. And she's got the whole athletic thing going on, like I'm an athlete, I'm a singer, I got it all.
Have you ever had that going on?
Never. Never. I'm still working on that. I'm going to have that going on.
Those look like wrestler boots that she's wearing, so probably she's the first performer at a Super Bowl halftime show, woman performer, who's not been suffering by the time the song started.
Right. She is all about her movement, and I kind of admire that.
She's got kind of that old school, that 40s hair that she had back in the mid-2000s. She's kind of changed her look a couple of times.
Right. She's still that, what is that, platinum blonde.
And so she ends up doing Just a Girl. Really, so this whole thing, Gwen Stefani really only gets to do one song.
And, that's what's kind of interesting is it's just like a mini concert. It's almost got that jingle ball effect. Do you know what I'm talking about? The jingle ball from the holiday?
Vaguely.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's just like here they come on for their little one pop, and then there's...
This was probably the first public airing. I can hear mothers and daughters sitting kind of cackling from the kitchen. She's wearing a red bra underneath her sparkly silver bra, which...
started the double bra, right? I don't know if that's true, but that has been a trend that has not gone away. If you're a mother of teenage girls. Sorry.
There are just some people who should better invest in a single and get their money's worth.
Single supportive, and then two non-supportive. I don't know. If we're going, but Gwen's looking cute. She looks great, and she's jumping around quite a bit.
She is looking good, and now cheerleaders.
The cheerleaders in Gwen style.
Oh, yes. And they are wearing a little bit more in terms of midriff style tank top thing.
And
she's wearing gloves. What do you think the gloves thing was all about? Is that just
Michael
the whole
Jackson
athletic look?
Oh, yes. And she looks like a boxer. Don't you think she looks like she's like a girl boxer? And
why would you do that?
Because those are like weightlifting gloves.
Yeah.
She's just working out.
Why would you? She's just
working out.
So Gwen Stefani and Shania Twain, and what do you suppose they were talking about in the green room?
I don't know how cute Sting is. I don't know. What a legend he is to be with the gals.
Okay, so now we're moving on to 2012, and it's Madonna. And amazingly, you had to wonder, did they have a hard time getting her?
I don't know. This is just my own personal. I love Madonna, and it's just there's something about her, and I know she's quirky and weird, but there's something about this show that really is quite amazing.
So the woman who has reinvented herself more times than anyone.
That's why I love her.
I think on the other hand, though, there comes a point where you just don't know what you're going to get when you have to book this 3 years out.
Right. And and it's risky. It's often controversial, but this must have been.
We are at Super Bowl XLV1.
Right.
46.
Yes, I was like,
because we're at Super Bowl 50. Yeah, we're at. And this was a February one, so I think this might have been the start of moving the Super Bowl even later. Oh no, wait, no, February. They've been in February now, the mid 2000s. Well, never mind.
Oh, look at this.
This is
showmanship. Look at this.
This is Elizabeth Taylor from Cleopatra.
It is Cleopatra coming. Look at her.
She is channeling Elizabeth Taylor. Young men wearing gladiator wear, and then more young men carrying her in a, what's that thing that you...
oh my gosh. Well,
in one of those things that Elizabeth Taylor got carried into Rome for when she finally met up with Richard Burton. But she's not totally, she's not totally knocking off Cleopatra. She's got her own look.
Because she's got the thigh boots.
And we're big on black and gold is the heavy look. And she's singing Vogue, but she's really not singing. She is lip syncing.
And that's what you learned in that article, that she really was lip syncing?
Even though she's got the little microphone that if you're thinking, oh, well, maybe she really is singing, she's doing a lot of dancing and she's 53 years old.
I was like, she really, it's a total performance for her.
And she was a choreographer first and foremost from Michigan.
I know. I heard that was always her passion, and look at how it worked for her.
Yeah. I don't know. This just isn't my Madonna.
But I think there's this piece. I like the other stars that she pulled in with her. I think that's kind of exciting.
We're going to listen to the whole thing because in this one, more so than others where there's just a raft of talent on the stage all at once, she pretty much still is guiding everybody through their, she is still the focus.
Yes.
And everybody else is just sort of window dressing.
But she picked, the people that are working with her during 2012. They were really hot stars or just emerging, and that's a pretty good deal to be able to hang with Madonna.
So again, some visuals that you see from overhead, and this is really to the notion that these have become productions for TV, not for the 80,000 people are in the stadium. The visual aspect that takes place on the stage or beyond the stage is now as orchestrated as the performance itself, and it's usually images of her.
Which isn't that interesting? Of course, it's going to be images of Madonna.
And also probably the highest tech stage we've ever seen, kind of a pulsating dance floor, kind of like the old Saturday Night Fever.
Right, it really floor. Is, but just a little bit modern.
Yeah. She's doing a medley of some of her stuff, Vogue and party rock anthem and sexy. Oh, and then she, I don't know at what point in the 13 minutes. She had 13 minutes. So incrementally things have bumped up from 12 minutes with Diana Ross to 13, and Beyonce gets 15 minutes. She's gone from tuxedo dancers to she's gone from Roman gladiator dancers to now kind of like athletic suit.
Yes, like they've really created like a gymnastics type of environment, so they can.
She's doing cartwheels in 4-inch stilettos,
and that's what is impressive. I think that's why she's kind of amazing. Physically, I know she works out all the time, but amazing sort of with her ability to balance. And what's that?
And this is a guy who is going to walk a tightrope, which right now fact that he's hanging on it on his thighs looks painful. He's going to tightrope and kind of bounce around, and he might actually have upstaged her for just a second because she's looking like she wants him off the stage. No costume change at this point from Madonna. She's proud of her stage entertainers. And so she's got in the queue, this is the Cirque du Soleil people.
I don't think I realized that these were the Cirque du Soleil. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
And then she still has
LMFAO.
Yeah, and then Nicki Minaj, and then MIA, and then CeeLo Green, and Andy Lewis, and the Avon High School drum line, and the Center Grove High School drum line.
That's a lot of really neat high school
Fisher High School drum line, Franklin Central High School drum line. And I don't know what Southern University gets because they end up with somebody at almost every Super Bowl halftime. And then a 200-person choir consisting of Indianapolis locals. She
involved a lot of people.
Yep. She tipped her hat to the locals, and that's good. How this and the things she can do in high heels is amazing.
That's why I think I just watch in awe. I can hardly take my eyes off her.
Who do you suppose her podiatrist is?
I don't know, but she must have one.
Okay, now here comes, we start getting into a little bit of Madonna controversy.
Okay.
So, the thing to remember is that the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake wardrobe malfunction really sort of put the NFL on edge a little bit with regard to the behavior and what's going on the stage. So this is Madonna's big costume change. What's your impression? And did you like this song?
This song, I think I did like it when it came out. But I think it's just there's so many people. It's so weird. It's like religious, and then we're talking about your virgin. It's just weird.
No, I'm sorry. This is like a prayer. Yeah.
Did you say like a virgin?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
But it's like a prayer.
Right.
But that whole album was just kind of weird.
Yes, it was.
I actually like this song because usually when they're doing it, they always pull in like other people, the gospel singers, and I like it. And this sort of, I don't know if you're a follower of Madonna, she goes through this like big spiritual awakening during, and I think that was just sort of interesting about her. Like I've got all this power and I'm going to go inward.
She just feels like she's finally hit her moment. She's not as required to dance through this.
Pelvic thrust.
Yeah.
It's just more her voice.
Yeah.
It's just
and
more...
it's got some heart to it.
Yes.
And you want to describe what CeeLo's wearing?
Well, CeeLo looks like a minister
with sunglasses.
With sunglasses on, which, in the middle of the night, which I love. He
gives it some heart.
He does. He gives it some heart and some like authentic gospel to the choir. It's kind of neat. I like the combination because I really don't think I realized when this was actually being performed. I maybe didn't know who CeeLo Green was. And now because of his fame on Another Way that I see that. What a great team.
So 2004, you had the Janet Jackson controversy, and all of a sudden there was just many more standards that everybody had to adhere to, and they were going to stick with very accomplished, very big name, safe entertainers. And so following Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, it was Paul McCartney, which it doesn't get any safer than that.
Right.
Only wardrobe malfunction on that would be, well, who knows. And then the Rolling Stones. And I swear the Rolling Stones didn't even wear makeup for that one. They just looked awful. And then it was Prince in the A&M, Florida A&M marching band. Okay, so Madonna, probably really prided herself on a good, solid show. And then you have her co-entertainer, MIA, flipping the bird on national TV.
Right.
And the NFL went ballistic.
Right. And it's really interesting because MIA, culturally, if you watch videos and stuff, she's very conservative. I mean, her music, she's a beautiful woman and she is very covered up all the time. And it's very interesting to me that that's what she does. To like I just remember thinking, what are you doing? Because that is very, for this culture, that was really obnoxious kind of, but in her own culture the clothing was obnoxious, so she is very that would be too much of a statement if you wore that kind of clothing, if you wore scantily clad, where she's all covered up, but then she does this. It just was interesting. It's like,
and you gotta wonder what Madonna said after that. And so the NFL levied a fine of $16.6 million to MIA for basically behavior unbecoming the National Football League, which it's like, really? I'm sorry, I can lip read on a TV show.
Yeah, right. I know that was excessive, don't you think? I mean, like the way that people, these players, as if they don't every once in a while give us something that we shouldn't be seeing. Come on. Right. That seems a little extreme.
And we could get into the controversy of Janet Jackson and whether or not that was a whole planned event, but you know what? Instead, we're gonna ride this one out, courtesy of Beyonce, who has now pretty much hit the pinnacle of everything there ever is to see. These flaming pyrotechnics. This stage that doesn't quit, and
she's looking how tall she. Oh,
and then this image of her in flames or whatever that probably is 30 feet tall. This thoroughbred who was absolutely destined to have this kind of a performance at the age of 31, and I think she had just given birth.
Right. Oh, she did because the little ones in the video. No, she took it to another level. She is something else. She's a performer. No, is she singing? She is singing.
She is singing, yes.
And she's very active. And let's go back to those boots. Those boots were made for walking. No, and are these the high ones or not? I can't tell from this angle.
Well, they're all high.
Right.
I would be wearing my tennis shoes.
But they're not as far as like thigh. They go up. I'm just thinking, they're just.
Well, here's my thought. First of all, those sure look like support hose that she's wearing.
And you know what?
And she deserves them.
Yeah, it's like, let's do it. I think that let them stay up. She walks a lot and does a lot.
I mean, between the things coming out of her boots, this black stuff, that's compression, that for sure.
Yes.
Probably kind of an NBA technology,
right?
But then we get this visual from over her, and then are those other dancers, or is that just?
It looks like her. Doesn't it look like her superimposed?
Yes.
But there are a couple more. Now this is Destiny Child, right?
Okay.
No,
I don't think
no, this
so.
is still her.
Yeah. Anyway, so this vampy teddy, for kind of a leather teddy,
right?
But she's got thighs like Serena Williams,
right?
I mean,
but she's so
athletic,
right? She speaks to the athletic girls that are, working. Like she's moving.
Yes.
I mean, you love it. I love that she's taken this to the.
No man has ever worked this hard.
I don't think the football players have worked this hard during the game.
Right. Let alone with those boots.
Yeah.
And having apparel that basically is riding up your
yes, uncomfortable, and then have a smile on the whole time, without swearing, or giving the bird. She's amazing. I mean, and look at this. It's amazing.
She is giving it to the camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, she's a performer. Wow.
I kind of wonder whether this was in fact a turn on or a turn off for basically white American men. I think they just realized somebody bought the house.
Yeah. You know what? And it's going to be her. And I think it's only taken off from here too, right? I mean, she's just a mogul.
Yeah.
She owns it.
Getting back to this VH1 article about lip syncing, this is Beyonce for realsies because evidently, do you remember this? That she lip synced the national anthem for the president's inauguration in 2008?
Because it was windy, and wasn't it windy? There were some things that she was worried about, or she had been sick and didn't want to.
Something happened, and then there was an audio malfunction, and so she kind of got caught. And I think she basically said, you're
going to doubt me and my talent?
Yeah. I'm never going to fake something again, even if it's not the greatest quality. This had to pretty much be on in ways, I mean, they had to have tested this for weeks and weeks prior. And then, of course, all of the dancing and everything else, she needed to have cold.
Right. And she does.
The songs that she did, wow. She gave us, the first song is Run the World, Girls. And so she did Love on Top, Crazy in Love, End of Time, Baby Boy, and then Destiny's Child comes out for Bootylicious and Independent Woman Part 1, and then
crowd favorite,
and then Single Ladies, and by then I think the men are going, where's more pizza?
Right. Well, that probably is true.
Yeah.
It's a girls show. It's a total girls show. I think she's pretty empowering.
And she's having fun.
Yes.
Did this change America? First of all, it set a whole new standard for the halftime show.
Right.
And it's going to set a whole new standard for this particular kind of arena rock women's performance. Mm-hmm. You know, Avril Lavigne is not going to be next year's performer.
Would that be a disappointment? I mean, nothing against her, but you know, the pouty teen is just not going to be able to.
No, and we're not going back to Carol Channing, even though she is still alive. How do you top this? And who are the women? What woman could do this?
I don't know. It's going to be something.
So then last year we had, just in 2015, it was
Katy
Perry. And
it was good. It was good. The shark malfunction thing where the shark was going off rogue. Do you remember that shark?
I missed it.
It was a little silly, but I mean, it was cute.
And so this year,
she makes a return.
Next weekend, we've got Coldplay and Beyonce and Bruno Mars. And Bruno Mars has been on before, a couple of years ago. Coldplay is the safe white guys, you know, yacht rock kind of.
Right.
So they're going back to creating the blend, but this may be the last time that a woman dominates the stage all by herself for a long time.
Well, it's too bad, but I could see where this would threaten some, I don't know. She's too much power. I mean, how awesome is that? But she's a lot of power and she's owning it.
So we're just going to fast forward to the crowd favorite, and then we're going to ride this out.
And I think, I got to tell you, when we're watching Destiny's Child here, and they're in their leather, what is it, like bodysuit? But not, what is that?
It's kind of a teddy.
It is. It's very, I mean, because there's hardly any clothes. I mean, let's be honest. There's more on their knees below than there is on the knees above.
Yes.
So, but there's something about these girls that it's not slutty. It's like powerful.
Yeah, and it's Venus from the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Right.
Yeah.
It is. It's like athletic. They are not to be pushed around, and they are talented. There's a different feel there's no vulnerability here. It's all strength and power. I love that for our daughters to see that.
It's hard work the entire time, and they're having fun doing it.
Right.
So the idea that anybody can question that solidarity, and there's like 150 women on that stage backing her.
Right.
You're right. It is definitely a performance that should continue to attract attention for a long time to come. And she is the premier, at this point, stage performer for women.
She really is.
She is, wow, you know, if you go back to Judy Garland or Liza Minnelli, you know, where they've got the chops and they've got the rapport with the audience, not necessarily a lot of dancing component. Madonna elevated the dancing component, and here we are. So Beyonce is a little bit of all of those performers blended together for 2016.
And, you know, in a weird and really pretty to look at. You know, I mean, just really pretty.
She's having fun, and she deserves it, and she works hard. And like I said, I don't know that I can think of male performers, because really the other safe performers come and they're sitting on their laurels and they're lip syncing stuff, and they certainly aren't dancing to 15 minutes of straight. I mean, that's a workout.
She doesn't stop.
The presence of Beyonce and with Diana Ross then on the other end, there being about a 40-year age gap between the two. You don't have Whitney Houston anymore.
Right.
You don't have Donna Summer anymore. You don't have Irene Cara never made it. Stephanie Mills never made it. And there were a lot of very talented women between here and there,
but that just didn't have the staying power,
right?
Or just burned out.
Right.
Fizzled.
Yeah.
Or
they got robbed by their.
Oh, right.
Robbed by
exactly.
their agents. Yeah. So she's got a lot to manage and a lot of expectation that's placed on her. The halftime show did or didn't end with this little 1.5 minute sort of slideshow video
of her amazing life.
Yes.
Doing all sorts of things. She has fun, enjoys her life,
Yep.
but is not making spectacle like some of the other stars.
So I think we are coming to a close here.
It's good to watch Beyonce, to be honest, I gotta tell you.
Yes, it is. So if you need that jolt, well, you're going to get it next week from more Beyonce, I guess. But I think the lesson we've got here is that the Super Bowl has honored women, has honored talented women in the past. If you were to recount all these images and the Tina Turner and the Mary J. Blige that we missed and all of those, they're all wearing high heels. They're all working hard. They're busting it. They're dancing. They're making it work. And isn't that why we watch the Super Bowl halftime show?
That is the only reason why. I'm going to be honest. And you know, we said it a million times. It's the only reason. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming.
All right. It's this little insight into TV history as it's unfolded over 50 years. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you, Susan Nolene, for being a part of the show.
Well, it was my sincere pleasure, and I look forward to going home and checking out some more podcasts. And thank you, and I hope to do this again sometime.
You're welcome. Many thanks to Susan Nolene. Oh my gosh, that was fun. Also, thank you to the many people who upload video to YouTube. That was very helpful in terms of us coming up with a great slate of Super Bowl halftime shows to review. Like maybe a few of Susan's high school English students, we relied on Wikipedia for some of the great background we provided you with today. So, if you've got story ideas, please send them to me. The email address is advancedtvherstory@gmail.com. Either send your story ideas or feel free to defend the fashion trend of wearing 2 bras. Find us and follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @tvherstory. Okay, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Cynthia Bemis Abrams. Thanks.